Hi, I'm Carl Brown, and a priest that I know asked me to speak to a group of dads about creating traditions in your home. And he asked me, after I shared that talk, to record this and make it available so that he could share it with other people. Now, the idea of creating traditions in your home is it's something I've been very deliberate about. And the result of it is we have 6 kids, and 3 of our kids are over the age of 18, and we have a real strong connection, real strong family identity, and our kids all love each other, and we have a lot of unity in our home, and it comes from the traditions that my wife and I have created. So I want to share some of those with you. What prompted them, what some examples of those are, some guidelines for how to create some traditions. So my father left my mom and my brothers and I at a young age, and 30 years later, I was a father, I was a husband, and I remember hearing Simon and Garfunkel's Greatest Hits, and it immediately reminded me of the cookouts that we had with my father 30 years before that. And I thought, if music can be that powerful to recall time and place and people and create connections, 30 years later, when there was that this was not happy memories, it was just reminding me of those incidents. Imagine what could happen if we used music, or we used other traditions to tap into good memories and to create a positive identity. Because whether you like it or not, your kids are going to have memories of you. Whether you like it or not, you're going to fall into traditions. You might as well be deliberate about it, because you are the primary formator of your children. And I'm speaking specifically to men and dads. So what I did, one example of a tradition that I started right away was using vacation theme songs. And so what would happen is I would plan based on our vacation, based on what was going on at that time, that year. I would pick a song, and I would pick something that was relevant, something that was contemporary, something that was catchy, something that was family friendly. And it also really important was that there'd be the hopes that they could hear this song again, out maybe at a store, shopping or something like that. So then what I did is I built up the excitement about it, right? Before the vacation, I told our kids, anyone want to guess what the theme song is this year? I created anticipation for it and told them I'm going to announce it on the way to our vacation spot. And then I did. I made a big deal about it in the car, and I announced it. And then every year there'll be times when I play that and play the other vacation theme songs back, and the kids are all trying to guess, oh, which one was that? Oh yeah, I remember I got it on 3 notes. It created a lot of good memories, and it anchored those vacations into their memory around this song. And now we have a family sharing on iTunes, and we have a vacation theme song playlist. So it's pretty cool. Another thing that and by the way, that's a free idea, really. I mean, you don't have to get family membership for iTunes, but another thing that can get kind of pricey is I've made family T-shirts. I haven't done this every year, but I've done at least a half a dozen where there's some message, and again, it's related to that year, or it's something about us, and the kids love getting them. They love wearing them. As the kids got older, I started asking some of the older kids for feedback and help them even pick the material or the message. Very, very great memory right there. Now, when Father asked me to give this talk, and when he asked me to share this in a recording, he was talking specifically about Christmas traditions. But since this will be available, online, I wanted to give a couple other examples. But here are some family traditions around Christmas. And these are, what I did is I asked my kids, hey, what Christmas traditions do we have that you love? And the answers were a Jesse tree, an Advent calendar. Every Christmas morning, I have the kids sit on the steps and I videotape them, and I ask them, what's today? Christmas. Whose birthday is it? Jesus. What are we going to do? Open presents. Okay, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. 4 basic, back and forth lines, and I record that every year. And now I've got 20 years of those kids sitting on the steps answering those questions, and it's just great to watch the compilation of that. One of the other kids said that their favorite thing was the pickle. So this is a weird tradition, and you can get a pickle ornament, and it's just like it's made of the same material as other Christmas ornaments, but it's just a pickle, right? And what we do is I hide it on the tree, right before I videotape them on the steps, and then they try to find it, and they're very competitive about it. It's a pretty fun memory for them, and who found it last year, how fast can they find it, and whoever finds the pickle, they get to do the other thing, which is one of the other kids said was their favorite memory, was the first gift we open gets to be opened by whoever found the pickle, and the first gift every year is the same gift. It's a little baby Jesus to put in the manger scene. So that's another memory there. And then one of the other kids said their favorite memory is singing happy birthday to Jesus when we put him in the manger then. And we also make a cake every Christmas, a birthday cake, and we sing happy birthday to Jesus at Christmas dinner. It's a great thing to do, especially with extended family. So those are some Christmas ideas. And there's some other things that I've done also just in raising my kids and creating traditions, creating memories for them. One of the things I did from an early age, and I did this at the suggestion of another great priest, and he said, talk to your kids about the greatness of God, about the vastness of God. And so I would do that. For example, we'd be driving somewhere, or we'd see a beautiful sunrise, or even coming home and seeing the sunset. And I would say to the kids, this is from when they were very, very young. I would say, look at the sky, isn't that beautiful? And they'd say yes. And I'd say, I got up early this morning to get it just right for you. And the funny thing is, when they're very, very young, they at first they believe me, but then they say, wait a minute, you didn't do that. God did that, right? So then that's them telling me about God. But another example of how to draw out the greatness of God is, I've done this several times, like driving through the Appalachian Mountains, or I'll say, hey, how many leaves do you think are on a tree? And they'll make some guess, whatever that number is. And then I'll point to a mountainside and say, how many trees do you think are on that mountainside? And so how many leaves are on all those trees on that mountainside? And how many mountainsides are there worldwide? And God knows about all of those leaves. Just getting them to think about the greatness of God, and do that in wherever you can. And really this gets to one point, which is as the primary formator of your kids, and again, I'm speaking to the men, they will see in you a glimpse of God the Father. Nothing to be overwhelmed about, right? Because God is entrusting you with that role, so he must also have equipped you for that role. But if that's the case, then we as men must always be learning. We must be listening to audio tapes if we don't read, be reading books otherwise. Go to conferences, especially men's conferences. If you don't learn new stuff to share with your kids, they will think that you have nothing new to add to them, and they will stop asking you for advice. They'll stop listening to you. So continually work at growing in your own, informational base, learning about everything, right? And then share that with your kids. And that reminds me of the quote that the man who doesn't read has no advantage over the one who can't, right? So that's reading. Another thing is an idea for honoring family members, a way to bring honor into the home. And that is at birthday celebrations, at the birthday meal, what we do is I go around and I ask everyone to share their favorite memory of whoever's birthday it is, and what one thing you admire about that person. And it's a great exercise, and it really helps siblings to hear from each other what they admire about, and it's just a great conversation, and that's a real tangible way to honor your family members. And one thing that my wife and I are really careful about is we do not allow kids to call each other names at all. Nothing. Not even nothing, right? They're not allowed to call each other names. And we do a family examine in the evening, and it's just kind of like an examination of conscience and how did you do today? And one of the things we do there is I encourage the kids, if they have done something to hurt each other, that they apologize for that. So that's been a really powerful thing for us in our family. And you know, the last thing that I share there is pray. Pray every day. Pray every day as a family. Your kids are not likely to pray any more than you do. So however much you pray is going to be a measure for how much they're going to pray. And however much you want them to pray is going to have to be modeled in your prayer life. So just some ideas here, and this is about an 11-minute video. Hope this has been helpful. I'm Carl Brown, and I wish you all of God's blessings.